Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to do a back to basics set. We're going to start off with prep. So I'm going to sanitize my hands with hand sanitizer. I'm going to spray that on the nail. I'm then going to take my cuticle pusher and I'm going to push back that skin that is grown onto the natural nail plate. We're just going to gently push this back. Then I will go in with a hand file and just etch away that nail plate just to give the acrylic something to adhere onto. If you are experienced, you can go ahead and use a e-file with a cuticle bit, but as this is kind of a back to basics, I'm just going to show you the real basic way on how to prep for acrylic application. So the next step I'm going to do is just gently nip away that excess skin that's grown up, that's now been pushed back, because I personally don't like that. Some people choose not to cut that, and that's probably the way forward, but because this is on me, on myself, I just don't like that skin there, so I'm just going to nip them away. I don't recommend doing this if you are not qualified in doing this, because you can easily damage your client's cuticle area, and you really do not want to do that. So then the next step is dehydration. This just takes all them natural nail oils out of the nail. This is what you get that causes lifting and stuff, so because the acrylic can't adhere onto the nail plate, so you want to just dehydrate all them natural nail oils out of the nail plate. So you would do this, you can do this after you've applied your forms to stop any contamination. I'm now just going to have a little discussion about primer. So me personally, I use acid primer. The difference between acid primer and non-acid primer is non-acid primer acts more like a double-sided sticky tape, and acid primer creates tiny microscopic pits in the nail plate to help that acrylic adhere onto that nail plate. It's more used for problem lifters, but I just use it on everyone and anyone because that is just my personal preference. So now I'm going to go ahead and apply my forms. I always roll the form first and then I'll stick the tab down and making sure there's no gap between free edge and form. Okay, so little tip now, I'm sorry if you see the camera shaking. I've got my phone on this bendy arm and I'm not really a fan, but yeah. So I put the liquid, I put my brush in the dish and then I drain the liquid down the brush so that none of the monomer spills out of anywhere. Then I will just burp my brush by completely placing it flat at the bottom of my monomer, and then I will scrape one whole side of that and just clean it off. So I'm just trying to find a good position to place my hand to record for you, but it wasn't really working. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply my primer onto the nail. I always like to just apply my acrylic when my primer is wet. So I just find I get a better adhesion to the nail. I'm going to burp the brush at the bottom. I'm going to drag one whole side of my dapping dish. I'm then going to place this in my powder for 3. So 1, 2, 3. As you can see, when I pull it up, it's a bit too dry. I'm trying to show you on film, but I did lose. You can see all that dry patch. That's not a good bead, so I'm just going to wipe that away. I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to don't try and work with a bead that you know is not good. So in the powder free, tap off the excess. There should be no dry bits around, but it should look like orange peel. When you place it onto the nail, when it does not run, or you know, it kind of just self levels, that's how you know you've got a perfect consistency bead. And then you're just going to really pat that into place, trying to create the shape. And I'm really sorry, but it was such an awkward angle for me to film at, so I can't really, it wasn't really my best. But I'm just hope you get the basics, because this camera was wobbling, it was driving me mad. But I didn't want to just get rid of the film, because I thought it might be able to help someone. So I'm just going to carry on patting this whole nail of the whole nail with body of my brush, and just trying to bring that shape. So I'm just rolling up, patting over, trying to get a nice even application, just showing on the side walls how you want it to come straight out from that natural nail growth without coming down the form. You just want it straight out, nice, even, straight, perfect nail. You're just going to keep patting that so it's nice and smooth. Also, when you're applying the first bead, you want to make sure you're blending that into the natural nail plate as well, so that when you go to apply your second bead, you're not having to cover that join up. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the cuticle bead. No, I'm not. I'm just going to pat it a little bit more. Okay, cuticle bead in the monomer. Drag one side. Tap a little bit. I'm going to hold in the powder for 3. Tap off the excess. And I'm just going to place it on the nail. And I'm just going to allow that to self level. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to pat, pat, pat with the tip of that brush at that cuticle area. You don't want to push it up towards the cuticle area. You want to pull with the tip of your brush downwards. Tap, 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 tap all the way around that cuticle area. And then you want to drag the excess product all the way down the nail and just pat it into position so that it gives an even distribution of acrylic. And you can see that I've got a pretty good apex going on there. So I'm just going to feel the nail to tell when it's ready to pinch. So when the acrylic starts heating up, that means that it is setting, and that is when you want to pinch the nail. So I'm going to place on my pinching tool, and I'm just going to leave that on so it's comfortable, it's not pulling too much. I don't need to place my pinching tool on right near the bottom. I just need a nice pinch to create a nice C-curve. And what that C-curve does is just give that nail strength and, you know, sturdiness. If you're going to knock it, it's not going to easily snap. So now I'm just going to show you the way I'm going to file. I literally could not do it on film because it was just impossible. So I'm just going to go off film. I'm going to file the free edge, the side walls upways. So I'm going to bring that acrylic in and over with my file, and I'm just going to go back and forth to contour it into a lovely even structure, as you can see. So I've sprayed my nail with just some isopropyl alcohol. I've cleaned away all the dust. I'm just showing you all angles. You want to make sure the nail is nice and flush with the cuticle. There's no harsh lines, there's no ridges, it's just perfect flush application, and it's been filed into perfection. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my buffing block and my cuticle oil. I'm going to put my cuticle oil on and around that cuticle, and then I'm just going to buff over that nail to a nice natural shine. This is if you are not going to use a top coat. finished video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed watching. I hope I haven't bored you, and I hope I've helped someone or anyone. Please ignore the state of my nails. Since having PND, I just seem to pick and bite them to shreds, which is really not cool. But yes, I love you all, and I'll see you all again in my next video. Take care. Bye.